Hey guys, I am in the kitchen, and this is Thursday, February the 16th, and this is Kentucky Cooking with Kathy, and I have my old page name back. So if you're watching me, make sure that you're on the right page, and it should have a background and a picture of me and Robert together. But anyway, I am going to make some cherry cheesecake brownies. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but I saw a recipe and I've changed it a little bit. I've tweaked it a little bit to make it a little bit more mine. I mean, it was okay, but and there's lots of good recipes out there, guys. So don't think this is just my recipe. It's not. I just took one and kind of changed a few things about it. But anyway, we're going to be using some brownie mix, and I like Betty Crocker's brownie mix best. You need one package, 18 ounces. This is 18.3. It's fine. And you want to make it like it says on the back, just like it says, whatever the instructions. Mine says use 3 tablespoons of water, a half a cup of vegetable oil, and 2 eggs. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to pour it into a 9 by 13 pan. And then we're going to bake it for 15 minutes on 325 degrees. Then we're going to take this out and let it be cooling while we make the cheesecake batter. Because you can't pour it on there hot. It'll tear it up. You want to let it kind of cool down enough that you can pour the cheesecake batter on top of it. Then, once we get the cheesecake batter made, we're going to pour that on top of it gently and spread it out. Then we're going to dollop cherry pie filling by the teaspoonsful over the whole pie, the cheesecake filling. Then you're going to take a knife and cut through it and swirl it around, okay? Now you all understand what we're going to do. We're going to start here in just a minute. So pay attention. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is, before we even start the brownie batter, you're going to take 3 of these 8-ounce cream cheese, and you're going to put it in a bowl, big bowl, and we're going to fill this up with hot water. And we need to let this sit in there for at least 20 to 25 minutes. So while we're doing this first layer, this will be softening the cream cheese, okay? And this works really good. All you have to do then is just pull the end up, wipe it off with a towel, pull the end up, cut it off, and squeeze it out. It makes it really easy, really simple. So I'm going to put my hot water over here, and I'll be right back. Okay. Let me see. I always have to look up there and make sure my little numbers are running. Okay, we're going to take our brownie mix. Put it, and it wants a half a cup of oil. Well, if I can get my measuring cup to come out. I think I just shortchanged it just a tad there, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. Just a tinge. And I need 2 eggs. I almost forget to keep the eggs for my friend. Or the eggshells. And now it needs just about 3 tablespoons of water. So I'm going to get that and pour it in there. Now I'm just going to stir this up with a spoon, because you don't really need to use a mixer on this. And since it's just one thing of brownie batter, whoops, if I don't flip it out of the pan here, it's usually not too hard to stir up if you just got one batch. Stirring is what bothers my neck, and I'm sure you all know that if you have problems with your neck. Seems like I have problems with lots of things. But I've been praying and declaring this morning I ain't having no more problems, because Jesus is going to heal my body. Now, once you get it mixed up, then we're going to pour it into a greased pan. Now, you don't put a lot of oil on it, just enough to, you know, maybe a teaspoon. You just want to be able to spread it around a little bit. Let me get this over here. I just take my hands and spread it. Go around the edges. I just keep going back and getting a little more off the bottom and to where I can get it around the sides a little bit. Because it doesn't take a lot, because brownie mix already has oil in it. But you just want it to where it doesn't stick to the pan. Let me rinse my hands. And I've got my cream cheese over here softening up. Get some soap on my hands, because that doesn't come off if you don't put soap on there. And yes, I did wash my hands before I started. You know, we don't always show that part because we hope you all know we wash our hands before we start cooking. Okay, now, I'm going to pour the brownie batter in the pan here. And we're going to let this cook on 325 degrees. So you should have your ovens preheating to 325 degrees. And we're only going to let it cook 15 minutes, okay? Because we don't want it completely done. We just want it to where it's firm enough that we can pour the cheesecake batter on top of it. I'm making a lot of noise here, aren't I? Getting that batter out of the bowl here is somewhat noisy. I should have used my spatula, but I think everybody be all right. Now I'm going to spread it out a little bit. Try to spread it out. I usually, when I make some of this stuff, I send it with Robert to give the people that he works with, you know. Because there's no way in the world that we could eat this stuff. Robert doesn't even like sweets, really. I mean, he probably likes them. He just doesn't eat them much because he just doesn't want to, I guess. Now, I'm going to try to level this out as much as I can. You just kind of shake it, level it down. Now, let me wash my hands again. I got stuff all over me. Every time I wash my hands, I smell like an apple, though. My soap is apple. I like country apple, the smell of country apple soap. Okay, now, I'm going to put this in the oven. And in just a minute, whenever I take this out, then we'll put the cheesecake batter together. And it's basically 3 packages of 8-ounce cream cheese softened. And then it has 1/2 cup sugar and 2 eggs and a teaspoon of almond extract. Now, if you don't like almond or you've got some type of allergy to almond, you know, use vanilla. You can use vanilla. You don't have to use almond. But, so that's what we're going to put in the batter. And then you need a can of cherry pie filling. That will be what we put on the top of the batter. So we'll be back in just a second when this gets ready. Okay, guys, I just took the brownie out. And that's what it looks like. Okay? Now, it's got that little crust on top of it, but we want to let this cool before we pour this cheesecake batter on it. So we're going to set it over here. You can see my wire rack right here. I'm going to set this over here and set it on that where it can cool. Then I'm going to start putting together the cheesecake batter. Let me get my cream cheese over here. Okay, we crank you around here. Okay, now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to take my dish towel and I just kind of get the water off of it. And I know a lot of you all have seen me do this, but some may not have. I cut the end of it off and then I just squeeze it out in the bowl. It's very, very pliable, very easy to do right now. Because this is the best way I have found to soften cream cheese. And do it quickly and easily. And you don't have to fool with it. You don't have to keep running to the microwave to see if it's too hot or if it's hot enough or soft enough. And it's just no mess, no fuss. I put that right there. Now, get all my papers and put them in the garbage. Wipe my hand off. I'm sure you all love hearing me talk about everything. Okay, now, we're going to put half a cup of white sugar in it. Now, it says use almond extract in their version, but I'm not going to because a lot of people don't like that flavor. But I'm just going to use vanilla in mine. Most people have vanilla on hand. And the first thing I'm going to do here is, well, try to mix this up a little bit. Get my sugar incorporated with the cream cheese. Now, they don't say do this, but I'm going to do this. On theirs, they just put this in there, but I'm going to add a tablespoon of flour to mine because I know that kind of helps the cheesecake batter stay together better. So I'm just going to put this in there and mix it up. And I do keep a little thing of flour like this for small things like this so that I'm not having to lift that big one. Okay, now I'm going to kind of push down the sides because this mixer has a tendency not to get things around the sides very good. It will, kind of. Okay, now, get this out of the way. I try to get as much off of my spatula as I can so that I don't make a big mess. Okay, now, we need to put our eggs in. We put 2 eggs in. See if I can get it cracked. And I use room temperature eggs when I do this. I usually leave a dozen of eggs sitting on my counter, provided they don't have any cracks or anything in them. Maybe a couple of days, 3 days, something like that. Whoops. That thing came off. This thing, I'm telling you what, you're getting on my nerves. Okay, now I'm going to mix this up. Now I'm going to push it back down around the edges because I can see egg all around. And we want the egg in the batter. We don't want it on the edges. Okay. Okay, now. Now, I know that batter's not going to be completely cool, but what we want is we want it cool enough that it doesn't cave in when we pour the cheesecake batter over it. And then once we get the cheesecake batter on it, we're going to spoon out the cherry pie filling. Now, I just have a cherry pie filling from Walmart, but I have this. Robert got this last year. This is a light cherry. It doesn't have sugar in it. So if you don't want to add more sugar to yours, you can use that, okay? Okay, let's see. Let me get my stuff ready over here, and then I'll go over there. Okay, we're going to pour the cheesecake batter on it. And you want to try to go from top to bottom, from one end to the other, so that you're not having to pour or spread too much. try to get it around in enough spots that you're not having to stir too much on it and maybe tear up the top. Okay, now I'm not going to use my spatula to do this because I've learned that a spoon works better. You can kind of smear it without being heavy-handed. Okay. Now, just kind of spread it out on top. Just try to even it out as much as you can. Okay. Now, let me get my cherries. And we're going to put dollops, about a teaspoon dollop. Try to stir your cherries up a little bit. And you want to put them right here. Put 2 on one side, 2 on the other side. 2 on one side, do it on that side. And to make sure you at least got enough to get all the way down. My cherries was trying to come off of my spoon. Then you can go back to the end. Kind of put some in the middle if you want to. Now, you can take a case knife or a butter knife, whatever you call them. Robert calls them a butter knife. I always heard them called case knives. And what you want to do is you just want to cut this back and forth like this. But you don't want to get down into the brownie. You want to just stay in the cheesecake, you know. Just try to finagle them around a little bit. It's kind of hard trying not to get in that batter down below. Okay, now we're going to put this in the oven and we're going to bake it 35 to 40 minutes on 325 degrees. And I will be back whenever it's done. Okay, guys, I just took the cherry cheesecake brownie out of the oven. As you can see, it looks yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And it smells so good. I pushed right here in the center. And as you can see, it's kind of springy. You don't want it wet right here in the center. And I think it's done. But in a little bit, when it gets cool enough for me to, it may be tomorrow before I can do it. But I will post the recipe and a picture of a piece, okay? And it's not hard to do. Y'all saw what I did today. If I can do it, you all can do it. And I'm just going to let it cool for probably about an hour. And then I'll try to put it in the refrigerator, just depending on how cool it gets. This will probably cool quicker than a regular cheesecake. But anyway, you all have a blessed day. I love you all. Do something good for somebody else. Talk to you later. Bye.